Success Summit. We are live and we are talking with thought leaders, business experts, how to relaunch, rebuild, and recover. We're focused on supporting female entrepreneurs, but the knowledge is good for anybody in business that wants to succeed. We have an amazing day planned. We're going to end up with a keynote with Tracy Schmidt, Unstoppable Tracy, Disarming Limiting Beliefs. We have women-owned panels coming up. We have a Support Her panel. We didn't forget about the men, because I truly believe the men are our allies and we need to invite them to the conversation. So we're going to hear from three gentlemen that are going to share how they support her. At 2 o'clock, a very important announcement. We have a billionaire success story. So stay tuned for 2 o'clock Mountain Standard Time for that, as I get to interview one of my mentors, Fred. So I'm excited for you to hear the interview and also, learn how to have that billionaire mindset for your business. Anybody should have that. So I know that we've got our next speaker waiting in the waiting room, in the green room. Hello, Joanne. If you're there, welcome to the stage. Welcome to Success Summit.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm incredible. How are you doing? How's the days?
You know what? I am having the best time in the world, because one thing that I really, really enjoy is I enjoy building relationships and connecting with super extraordinary leaders. And I sit back and I listen, and gosh, I just love learning. One thing that we can never do enough of, we can't stop learning. Yes, we might know a lot of things, but oh my gosh, it's incredible to learn. Everybody's area of expertise is so unique. And we may have, 10 people on one subject matter, but everybody's perspective is so different. Everybody's area of expertise is so different. And so I love, and I'm so grateful for yourself and our leaders that have brought their leadership, their expertise, and their wisdom to help and support female entrepreneurs and business people get through to relaunch, rebuild, and recover. So let me introduce you formally. You are the founder of The Connection Silicon Valley. And when did you start your business? Because I want to say it was in 2000 and I'm going to throw a number out, 2015. Am I right about that?
16 officially, 16, my business.
Officially? Yeah. Okay. I know you and I started about the same time. I launched in 2014, and then I know that you and I connected shortly after that, and it's a blur because everything goes so fast, but I've been watching you grow your business. Your organization collaborates between Canada and the US. You focus on bringing tech and building those relationships between Canada and the US, and building that ecosystem, which is really, really important, because of course, Silicon Valley is the world-renowned technology ecosystem. So continuing to build those relationships, and I have to say, how has COVID been with that relationship building with the borders closed? Challenging, right?
Yes, but a lot of us in tech work remotely anyway, so we're very fortunate that a lot of people are just able to. It's harder working from home, especially those with families and kids, and everyone's readjusting things, but it's not as hard as others that have needed to physically be in offices or whatnot to rely on their income. So, but it's a world-changing event, and we're living through some very interesting times. But I think we're going to come out of it much better than we went into it. I really do think that. I'm hearing a lot of people thinking about what they want life to look like post-COVID, because they've realized a lot of things during this time. So that's really wonderful.
And I love to hear the optimism, because I have always been, what pause? No, we are going to keep, I kept saying that we're going to keep the foot on the gas pedal, because I've always been looking at where we are. Right in March, I was looking at already the fall. What do I need to do from the fall and then all of a sudden into 2021? Because that's what we need to do as leaders, is to lead, be visionaries, and just know that our goals are going to be somewhat different, but our vision is still the same, right? So I love that. And I know that you're here to talk about being a collaborative leader, and I can't wait for you to share your words of wisdom with everybody watching today. You help Canadian women-led startups to Silicon Valley influence their network to help them grow and scale. I am so excited for you to speak today. So my friend, the stage is yours.
Amazing. Thank you. So we have a little less than maybe like 20 minutes,
We
like
have
16?
15 minutes. We have
Okay.
15 minutes of wisdom for you to share.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks so much for having me. I always like to set the stage. I don't know who all is in the audience, but I'm from Alberta originally. I've been in Silicon Valley for 20 years. Hard to believe. Um, I have been for 6 years total now doing this work where I'm helping to connect Canadian companies into Silicon Valley for tech. So we tap into our experts to provide access to capital and help startup founders develop a game-changing mindset. So we connect leaders into the ecosystems to help them grow 10, 20 times faster than they could on their own. I did start the Women's Network a couple years back. We're launching a membership program this summer, and we have an offer to your group as well for this. So I'm proudly Canadian. I drink a lot of wine, and I love my whiskey. So for our time together, I'm going to focus on being a collaborative leader, because one of Silicon Valley's greatest assets, I believe, is a collaborative ecosystem. So many people in tech in the Valley are willing to help others to succeed. They offer their time, their expertise, their network. And I believe it's a quality that every business owner and founder can benefit from as you either look to launch your company or to grow it. So this talk isn't necessarily about being a great leader for your team. It's about being a collaborative leader, which I think helps you be a great leader for your team. But what I'm very passionate about is also helps you be a great leader in and outside of your community and your ecosystem. So let's dive in. I've got 4 theme areas that I wanted to talk to you about. I always like to provide some tactical advice as well. And maybe there'll be a little bit of time at the end. So the first most important thing is, I know you guys know this, but I think it's foundational. You have to know and believe and set this in stone that you can't do it alone. We all know this, but as women, we still try. We try really hard. We think, yes, we know, but we're just going to do it anyways. One person does not have all the answers. We know that. It takes a village. When you're building a house, you put that foundation down first, and then you start to build the walls, and then you put things inside of it, and then you get to reap the benefit from it after all of that. So for today, I want you to really think about the foundation of knowing you're going to ask a lot of people for help along the way. It's not a weakness, it's a strength. And the only way that you're going to build your billion-dollar business or whatever business you're building is if you know that you're going to need help. I was listening to a TED Talk the other day, and I loved what this woman said on collaborative leadership. And she said, we need radical interdependencies. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that as theme number 2. So her definition of being a collaborative leader said that you needed to have radical interdependencies. She said the other type of leader was a hero leader, and hero leaders try to do it all by themselves, whereas interdependent leaders know that they can't do it by themselves. Hero leaders, they set goals that they know that they can achieve and want to solve by themselves, but interdependent leaders set goals that are impossible to achieve alone. They also have a willingness to share their goals before they know how they're going to get to the outcome. So before they even have a plan. And what I loved about this a lot is, obviously living in Silicon Valley, I see this all the time. This is what startups do. This is exactly who they are. They set a really big goal, and they have no idea how they're going to get there. She also said heroes see everyone as a competitor or a follower, and they want the credit. But the definition of interdependence is where 2 or more people or things are dependent upon each other. So since we know we don't have all the answers, we must rely on each other. But relying on each other in these interdependent relationships, we're also given to each other at the same time. So it truly is that the sum is greater than, or the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And I always like to say 1 + 1 = 11. And I think that is the outcome if we look to this radical sort of interdependency. So a good example, like I said, is what founders do all of the time. They have some really big goal, and they have absolutely no idea how they're going to achieve it. They might have a deck, and they've got some pretty pictures, and they've done some research, but you haven't done it before, therefore you really don't know how you're going to do it. So what they do is they come to the Valley all the time, and they ask for help. They collect as much advice as they can. They meet as many people as they can, and they go out and they say, here's my big ass idea. What do you think? And how can you help? And what happens in the Valley, which is another really unique thing that I love, is we very much are a yes and ecosystem. And that is where we build off of the conversation. So therefore, no idea is too crazy or too big or undefined. People here likely will have known somebody that have done something similar, have seen the idea pitched before. Maybe they might have an adjacent product or company that would fit into that nicely. they very much build off of it. It can be the wackiest idea and we've seen it all. And they're still like, okay, let me think about that. And have you thought about it this way? The opposite of that yes and is a no but. And we all know and experience this. No, but that's a crazy idea. No, but that'll never work. No, but who's going to fund you for that? Or the one that I love the most. No, but go prove it and then I'll fund you or then I'll support you. And of course, who needs support after we've actually proven something? We need people to support us before we prove anything. When we have that vision, that idea, that commitment, and that tenacity. So no buts are not helpful. And again, asking for help is not a flaw. I believe it's a feature. So very tactically, I want you to think big. And then I want you to think even bigger. I want you to take your idea to as many people as you can, or take what you're struggling with, whatever it is. Tell them what you're doing, admit that you don't know how you're going to get there, and then ask for their input and guidance. And then really be quiet and listen to what they have to say. You don't have to adopt everything that they tell you verbatim. You're just collecting their wisdom. You're just learning from them. And you're sharing your vision with them because they're going to keep you in mind as they move on in their daily work, and they find other people and they're going to hear that crazy idea and they're just going to say, hey, I remember talking to this woman. She was telling me this crazy thing. I think you two actually might, connect. Maybe there's some synergies there. So I really, really love that. And adopt a yes and mindset and response system. If you live in a place where that's not common, then you have to be a leader in it, and you have to show up and you have to be that person that's going to bring that into your own ecosystem and your community. So be really open when people bring you ideas. Go and seek and find out what other people are doing so that you can maybe say yes and to them and provide them with some advice and support as well. The third thing is lifelong mentorship. We recently did a little survey with some of our women from the Canadian Women's Network and asking them as female leaders and founders, what was it that they needed? And hands down, all of the time, it's the mentorship. So we know that we can't do it alone, right? We know that it takes a village, and we know that we need to think really big, and we know that we need a right mindset is super critical. But yet, we still need to do a lot of shit if we're going to build our business, right? We need to know something about marketing and sales and PR and fundraising, whether we do it ourselves or we hire a team to do it for us. We need to have some clue on these things. So the best and cheapest and fastest way that we can do all that is we can rent that expertise by getting mentorship along the way. We don't have time to be in classes, get educated, go to workshops, sit on Zooms all day. Nor do we have time to go and build and fail and try and fail again enough times in order to build our business. So at every step along the way of our business, we need mentors. So some mentors might be there for you 20 or 30 years. I've heard people that have said, I've had that mentor for 30 years. And others might be there for a shorter period of time. It's kind of like the friendships. They're there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. It's all acceptable. There's no wrong answer. All of them are right. But what you need to do is think about what you need in your business right now, as well as what you're going to need in the future. Both are very critical. You can't just look at I need something today, because when you need that, you're going to need it today. But if you haven't fostered relationships, then it's not there for you. So you have to also think tactically as well as strategically. So the good news is that along the way, you're going to be building this fabulous network because you're going to be reaching out to a lot of people. The type of mentor that you need when you're starting a business and you're green and you know nothing is very different when you start to scale your business. You're a few years in, when you're expanding to another region, when you're starting a new product line, when you're pivoting. So you're going to be building this awesome relationship with mentors all along the way. So tactically, what I want you to do is make a list. Store it in Google Docs. I use Evernote, whatever system that is easily accessible to you that you can refer back to and you can add to all of the time. I want you to list 3 different kinds of people on there. The first is a list of experiences that you're going to need now to kind of the next year. So if you're just starting in a business and you're going to look to fundraise and you have no clue on fundraising, then guess what? You're going to look to find some mentors that have some fundraising expertise that can guide you along the way, that can inform you, that can also help support you. When you start getting into those conversations, you can get their advice of no, that doesn't seem right to me. Or, yeah, that seems exactly spot on. And I will say, as you're doing this, look outside of your own four walls. Please, dear God, just don't, if I'm from Edmonton, dear God, just don't look for mentors from Edmonton. Go and seek mentors from very different ecosystems with very different experiences, because you need that. If you want to build a global company, you need to have global expertise that's informing you instead of just local. And guess what? If you want to be known globally, you need the world to be able to find you. And a good way to do that is to be building that global network. So look for people as well that are outside of your ecosystem or your sort of current four walls, as I like to say. But if you're going to be like launching a brick and mortar store, then go find somebody that has that experience. If you're going to be doing manufacturing overseas, look for somebody that has that expertise. So look for the people in the next year that you're going to be needing to build or scale your business. The next group of people that I want you to list is the networks that you need. So again, if you're going to be looking for fundraising, then look for people that have networks of fundraisers or investors within their ecosystem. If you need distribution channels, then look for somebody that has those networks. If you need customers, look for somebody that is close to your customers. Look for that one node that will provide you exponential access to that network of nodes that you're looking for. So that second group of lists is like, what's the networks that you really need to be tapping into? And then the last list that I want you to create and keep track of and add to all the time is the people that you admire and respect. And this might be somebody that you saw in a TED Talk, could be someone like Michelle Obama, could be, you know, Monica, somebody that's close in your network that you know, but list the qualities and traits that you like, admire, and respect. Because when you start to do that, and I like to use Michelle Obama as my example, I'm likely not going to get Michelle Obama as a mentor, but the qualities that I love and respect in her and admire, I'm going to see in and around the people that I come across. And so if I know what those qualities are, I'm going to notice them, and somebody that I meet will be more accessible to me, and I'll be able to potentially have them as my mentor. So that's why it's important to dream really big with that, and don't worry if they're not going to be your actual mentor. Just look at the things that you like about them. And then what I want you to do is make a commitment to yourself. Every week or month, whatever your cadence is, reach out to X number of those mentors in your list. Might be more urgently, again, for that short term, you need to fundraise in 6 months. So you need to start really gaining that expertise. If you, a long-term goal, if you want to sit on a board, I do work with getting women on boards. Maybe you want to right now, you're not going to be maybe joining a board right now, especially as you're building your own company. But if, say, in 10 years time, you want to be able to have the expertise and sit on a board, then start to interact with people that have board experience that you can learn from as well. Maybe figure out how you can get on a board early on in your career as like a nonprofit, or do some advisory work, something that gives you that. So just examples of sort of like short or long-term mentors that you could be bringing into your network. And the last part of the mentorship is so critical, is paying it forward. You can't just come and take from it. Relationship is going to allow it to be one side, and the same thing with mentorship, or when you're building networks out there, you really have to pay it forward. You have a lot to offer, even if you don't think that you do. I have founders that come to the Valley all the time. They're usually first-time founders, first-time fundraising, first-time to the Valley, and they say, what do I have to offer? I've just met with an investor, I got some great feedback, like what can I do? So I'm going to tell you a couple things that you can do. You can offer them a thank you. You can give them something back in return. You can, I'm going to speak to that a little bit more. I got a little bit off track there. So what I want you to do on the mentorship side, when you're paying it forward, 1 minute left. Wow. When you're paying it forward, what I want you to do is make a promise to mentor other people. The last fourth is building a network. Always build a network before you need a network. There's a model that I like a lot. It's called know, like, trust, and then refer. People usually think if I know somebody, they're going to refer me. That's not how it works. So really look about building an authentic relationship with people. Take the time to nurture it, and give back as well into that network. And what I was going to say with that, as I was going on, is when you're looking to give back, again, you can just ask somebody if you can help them with something. That's a really good way to give back. You can also ask if they want to be introduced to people like you. Who wouldn't want to be introduced to a really smart, talented woman that's building a successful, kick-ass business that's going to change the world? and engage with them in meaningful ways. You can do this on social media. You can, again, just send a follow-up thank you note. You can stay in touch with them. But some way, as you're building your network, just think about building it authentically and think about those long-term relationships. So if you want to be a truly collaborative leader, you need to know that you can't do it alone. You need to ask for help along the way. You need to get amazing support from your mentors. You need to build the network before you need it, and look for opportunities to ways to give back and engage. And with that, I'll wrap up. Hear you, Monica.
Okay, that I was on mute.
Go. Yeah, I was seeing the one.
I was printing, so I didn't want the printer to go off in the background. So I absolutely adore you. I think you're a fantastic leader, and I am so excited that we're in each other's worlds because we're so aligned with how we lead, that we're building our empires, but we're working together and we're leading by example. And I think that that is so important for women to do. Competition out there, I've seen it, I've experienced it, it's icky. It has no place in my world, nor your world. So I love your emphasis on building those authentic relationships and the trust and work with people that you know, like, and trust. I think that's really important. You've captured everything beautifully. I usually like to go back and sort of pick out a couple really great nuggets to refer back to, but you kind of ended by this, and this. So I'm not going to go there. You did a perfect job there. But I want to say that I look forward to being in the Valley, and I can't wait till those borders are open because I actually am dying to go to the Valley and to share some of this stuff that I've got going on and meet some of these amazing individuals. So to be continued, this conversation for sure. And if you want to send me any of the details, because I'd be happy to wrap that all up with a nice bow, along with the rest of the amazing information that we're going to have for all of our Success Summit pass holders. So thank you so much, Joanne. Have a wonderful day, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Thank you. You too. Well, thanks so much for what you do as well.
I appreciate it.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, Joanne.